Grown Folks Production.
In the mix.
With the commish, Nate.
Hey, welcome to Press Pass Live Season 105 Bowl Game Preview. That's right, we've gotten to the very end, one of our last Press Pass Live shows of Madden 24 or 23. I don't know why I said 24. One of the last ones as we wrap up Madden 23. The bowl game is tomorrow night. I know we're going to have a couple guys on commentary, but Trey is here to help me break it all down. Trey, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing fabulous.
Quite a playoff that we have had here. And this is going to sound weird, but up front, I'm kind of happy that there were a few FPR reports that were sent back, just because sometimes the playoffs can get a little wonky. Let's see if we can scoot this thing over a little bit more. There we go. That's where we want it. They can get a little bit wonky, and we never hear anybody ever give any kind of FPR reports. And the bowl games, the playoffs, that's the one where you want the cleanest amount of OMFL games that you can. And so I'm glad we kind of have talked through a few of those. But man, we are kind of going into the bowl game with a bit of a suspension for the Colts. But before we even get there, let's talk about how we got here. Colts, they had the number 1 seed in the AFC. Their first round game, the divisional round against the Miami Dolphins, they won 38-27 to put them into the AFC Championship there. And in that game, he faced the mighty Jets. There was kind of a 50-50 split from a lot of people about their predictions. Colts, Jets, who's going to be there for the AFC when they represent in the OMFL Bowl Game 105. Two monster coaches going at it, a 20-14 victory for the Colts there. It puts him into his first championship in quite some time. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He was there. No, he lost. That's right. I was getting things confused. He lost last year to the Dolphins, who got red hot. So he got his payback there, but one of his first championship games in a long time, since he won multiple championships with the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you think about the Colts' ride to get to OMFL Bowl 105?
Strange one. Don't think it was anticipated. I also don't think we all expected such an interesting FPR break and situation. I don't know. It was very interesting how that Jets went out, because they both didn't follow the rules to the best of their abilities. Now we're sitting here. Shaq Leonard on suspension is probably one of the best run stoppers against one of the best guys to run the ball.
Yep, and
gotta keep things clean.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it a little bit, but this is the thing about these games, and I'm wearing this badge as well, and I would say this to Nate. If I were on the other side of the screen, I would have this conversation with Nate, and if it fits for you, maybe you find something helpful from this internal monologue that I'm having with myself. But often there is the knee-jerk reactions in a game where you feel like something was done in a way that took away your ability to have a fair game and win that game fairly or lose that game fairly at the same time. And sometimes that's true, right? Two truths can run parallel of each other, but at the same time, when you step back and look back on that game, you can kind of see, ooh, maybe there were some FPR issues there that need to be worked through, but there was also this other thing. Here's the other thing for the Jets: 5 turnovers. You can't turn over the ball 5 times, only score 7 points in the second half of this game, 7 points in the first half as well, to put up 14 points total. Like, yes, maybe there were some minor FPR issues there on both sides. They weren't major. There were no like in your face, oh my God, they absolutely like broke FPR or cheated to win. Like, they were just minor infractions. And well, I had my own argument with myself of whether I should stick to it. But this game really came back to those 5 turnovers. You cannot turn the ball over 5 times in a championship game.
Most definitely. Like, a perfect example is what we saw last year in the OMFL Bowl.
Yep.
I had Massimo to turn the ball over consistently, and he couldn't get anything going until a minute left in the game.
Yep. Only 67 yards rushing combined for their top two running backs for the Jets. That was tough, right? Well, that gives me some like intrigue about what's going to happen in the bowl game here. But the Colts, I think this is the bowl game overall, and we'll get to the San Francisco 49ers, but it really is like two different coaches from two different spectrums, right? You have the 49ers who are so dominant in almost every category, high-flying offense, stifling defense with tons of really good players, lots of speed, lots of athleticism. Then you have the Colts who are kind of anti-athleticism. Sure, he's got Taylor, but like he's got Riddler at quarterback. He's got Mike Thomas, who's like 87 speed or whatever. Like you've got the kind of anti-athleticism over there for the Indianapolis Colts, and yet they both find a way to get here.
Yeah. And both very interesting situations, more so. Because we saw pretty much the entire season, there was dominance from the word go with Cincy and the Colts. D-Money started off awkwardly because he wasn't playing his first few games. I was a recipient of a sim loss due to that. Sucks, but it happens. But then as soon as he got back on the sticks, it's like he completely just said, yeah, I took a month off just to give you guys a chance.
No, I agree. Denbrew in the chat says Colts run isn't surprising to me. Great play caller, plays really well regardless of the talent on his team. Of course, Maniac said he's looking forward to the bowl game. Prayers for our friend Maniac, who is under the weather. And I don't mean he has the sniffles and a cold. My guy's got some serious health things that he's working through. So send some positive vibes and messages to our friend Maniac, who hopefully will be able to join us for the bowl game tomorrow. Let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers, the number one seed for the San Francisco 49ers. And I think one of the first bowl games in quite some time that has the two number one seeds making it all the way to the bowl game. But they have a first round game against the Washington Commanders, 48-21, flexing his muscles against a very good Birds Washington Commanders team. Gets into the NFC Championship game. This game ended up being a sim for him to win. We played the game. He went up 11 with a field goal right as halftime, like as zeros hit the clock, and then it DC'd. And it was a close game. It was 11 points, but he was very handedly kind of having his way. Plus, he was getting the ball back after a half. His schedule was terrible. It would have been Monday or Tuesday at the earliest that I could have played him because of his schedule, because of Mother's Day. I was celebrating my son's graduation this weekend, and actually this week he actually graduates on Thursday. So I was frustrated. I will openly admit I just kind of washed my hands of the situation. There was a little bit of a lack. I just keep my comments to myself. Anyway, I didn't give him the win. He earned the win, but I didn't try to play it again and hold the league up. 49ers, they move on to the bowl game. Well deserved. Just dominant from every aspect of every part of Madden 24. Top 2 offense, top 2 defense. Like, he just does it all. Unrelenting pressure. On offense, he has the deep threat. He can pick and pop you underneath. He's got the great running. Like, San Francisco does it all really well. What do you think about the 49ers run all the way here to Bowl 105?
It's surprising on one aspect. Other than that, it's pretty much expected. But the fact that we're in the tail end of the cycle, he's already been to the championship and won, and he's still competing. That's something we haven't seen the last few Maddens.
You're
so
right.
It's kind of interesting to see D-Money checked in at this point. And, checked in D-Money is a very hard D-Money to beat.
Yeah, it feels when you play him that you're playing. I don't even know how to explain it. The frustration levels increase pretty quickly whenever you're playing D-Money. It feels like he's sitting next to you watching you pick your plays. It feels like the deck is stacked against you, and you need lucky breaks to stay in those games, and he can do it all well. That sets up Colts 49ers. How do we even begin to unpack this game? Where is your number one kind of storyline going into Bowl 105 for this game?
How much Shaq Leonard not going to be that defense going to affect the ability for the Colts to keep D-Money in his high-powered offense? Because he's got a high-powered offense when it comes to a passing attack. So you have to deal with that. Now you lose your top run stopper, and he's got a pretty well efficient running attack as well. So now you have that. Now you have a guy that you've lost to cover Kittle and Waller. You're leaving a big hole in that defense now. Is that going to be the deciding factor? And does the run game carry D-Money there, or does the tight ends play even bigger factor in the game than they normally would?
Yeah, I will say, Cincy Berg handled this whole conversation about the suspension as mature, I think, as I've seen anyone handle the conversation. He owned it. He's like, that's what it says. It is what it is. And I take it, and I get that you guys had to do what you had to do. This was not easy. I originally told him I wasn't going to suspend a player for the bowl game for what I felt like a minor infraction. But then I went back on that very quickly, like within 30 seconds, because I just felt like I owed it to the league. This is the system. Stick to the system. It sucks. I hate that this is going to have a little asterisk. I did suspend what I think is one of his least replaceable or most replaceable players that is above 90 overall. But he handled it like a champ, and I feel like we should pause and give him that. This storyline for me is truly the dynamic between how vastly different these two owners have approached building their teams and how they got here. And in the bowl games that D-Money has been plugged in and played, I think you pointed this stat out, and as far as I can recall, I think it's true. D-Money has not lost a bowl game in any that he's played. And I just think it's because he never wavers. Like I can speak for me, you get punched in the mouth once or twice. You get one or two ugly, bad Madden breaks that just happen, and it so uneasily just unravels, I should say, on you really, really quick. D-Money never wavers. He could be down 21, and that guy thinks he has the plays, the ideas, the thoughts behind getting back, and he just doesn't seem to waver, and he does get there. The story on the other line is that for the Colts, have been able to be dominant with a team that most of us would not be able to be dominant. But now you're playing the upper of the upper, right? You're playing the best of the best here in the OMFL. There are no excuses now. If Cincy Berg wins this game, I'll flat out say it. He is in OMFL Hall of Fame resume. Multiple time coach, beats what's arguably the best player the OMFL has ever seen. He's won A, B, or C. He's like right there with the top guys. This is going to be quite the dynamic matchup between these two teams. And the difference, I'm repeating myself, but I think I'm going to say it in a much simpler, less wordy way. The difference between this game, I feel like D-Money doesn't waver. I feel like you can get in Cincy Berg's head. And I feel like he's one of those players that it can unravel on him. And does this unravel? Or both these teams able to fight to the bitter end? And does this come down to like a game-winning field goal?
Yeah, that's definitely a key factor. Is we've seen it before where Cincy gets in his own head and collapses. You don't see D-Money collapse. Does he have his rough games from time to time? Sure. But he's competitive throughout the time, and he'll get blown up, but by the end of that game, it's a 1-2 score game. Since he has that capability where if you get in his head and he starts panicking, it could very well end up like last season's OMFL Bowl where it's a complete blowout. But likewise, since he has the ability to keep it competitive, if he can keep his mind there.
Let's go one way that you can attack each of these teams, one way on offense, one way on defense. Let's start with the Colts. Offensively, it's all about Mike Thomas for him. What did the San Francisco 49ers do to combat, for you, it may not be Mike Thomas, right? Because we have to nod that Taylor is one of the top 3 running backs in this league. Is it Mike Thomas? Is it Taylor? If you're San Francisco 49ers defense, how are you attacking that offense of the Colts?
This is where it falls the D money specialty because he's very good at using safety. If he's using his safety to a key, he can shut both Taylor down and Mike Thomas. So it's got to be something where you want to play away from them because there's a good chance he's going to be looking to try and make a big play on one of them.
He does play safety primarily, and he will attack you quickly. He attacks the line of scrimmage quickly. He's one of the many reasons why we've had to put in that like 2-second rule, which went away. But like when I've played him, he attacks the line quickly because he knows he has the speed to turn and run if he does get burnt. And usually he can make those plays up pretty quickly. And I'm interested to see how the Colts attack that. Now let's talk about the 49ers offense. He's got speed on the outside. Many of these games, he opens up the game with a deep route to the super fast wide receiver that he got from the Houston Texans. But he really is a pretty balanced player, balances it with his backup running backs, whoever kind of has the hot hand. If you're the Colts defense, how are you attacking that San Francisco offense?
Blitz heavy and blitz fast. Like, this is one of those situations where you put yourself right at that FTR line with blitzing because you need to put the pressure on Trey Lance fast. If he gets time to sit back in that pocket and make a decision, you're going to get picked apart.
Do you worry about Lance's ability to escape the pocket?
Yeah, you really have to worry about it. I know the few times that I played him this year, I've had everything locked up, and then Lance goes for 20 yards and run on me. That's you've got to keep that balance of like sending enough to put pressure on him, but also having somebody to keep an eye on him just in case he goes.
The 49ers, I think, are a little bit more balanced and go to the deep play a little bit less, but they remind me of you and your offense. They put that same type of pressure on you. And he's so smart and cerebral. You know the word I'm trying to say. He understands. He just has to show it once or twice. But I know that when I play you, it feels like they're the 2 route combos. And if you take away one, the immediate quick read is to the second. I feel like D-Money does that a lot. I do think he's a little bit more balanced with the run game.
He has it almost in a 3-round combo, though.
Yeah, he's so quick. And if you try to cover over the top with the deep route, he's going to hit you with the draw, the run up the middle. If you don't take away the deep route and you try to come up with the box and play more of the run, he's going to try to hit that deep route. When you have 99 speed, 99 acceleration, very few cornerbacks can keep up. Even the super fast elite speed ones are going to get burnt over the top. And he just has that timing down pat. He throws that really, really well. Let's stay with the 49ers, talk about their defense. The number 1 blitzing team. He had over 70 sacks going into the NFC Championship game. Got a few with me, a couple that just blew my mind of like, how oh God, how did that happen? If you are the Colts offense, how are you attacking the San Francisco 49er defense?
Normally I would go and say you've got to stop Bosa, but really you've just got to stop, I can't remember his name offhand, I think it's Williams?
Yep.
You've got to stop him. If it takes blocking Jonathan Taylor or backfield or putting a tight end to help the tackle, you've got to slow him down because he is the ultimate game changer on that defense right now.
I'm not saying that this works all the time, but in some of my games, especially the Bears divisional round game, I think back to the Dallas Cowboys regular season game where I really started to like, oh, okay, maybe this is a strategy, but you sometimes have to just eat those first couple of drives of pressure and stick to the run and stick to trying to complete those quick passes, whether they're comeback routes, maybe slants, out routes every now and then, right? Not trying to give your quarterback 10 seconds to throw the deep post or the deep comeback route, and sometimes eat some of those sacks early. And then I feel like as the game progresses, if you stick to trying to run the ball, keeping the play clock going, that your offensive line begins to block a little bit better. And if you don't, and you start chasing the big play, you start trying to, get away from the run and pass a lot, you're going to get those insta sacks happening to you a lot. So even with the 49ers, I think you're going to have to eat some of that early pressure. Just sometimes you got to take a sack and not force a throw. Sometimes you're going to have to punt, and even though you were trying for the big play on 3rd down. got to try to your very best avoid that third and long, avoid those must pass situations with him, especially early. But you cannot, this is the stupidest football statement ever, cannot turn the ball over early in this game or it's going to snowball on you pretty quickly. Let's talk about the Colts defense, your San Francisco 49ers offense. How are you attacking that Colts defense?
You got to use your route running to efficiency. He's got some really good corners, but they tend to get caught up if you do like a zig and streak route. They have that way of just losing their coverage. So if you can attack that, there's a very good chance that you're going to put up points and put up points fast.
I mean, how do you attack a guy that gets, that much just like good play calling, good pressure? He's just like anytime you can hold Kobe to 14 points in a game and 5 turnovers, you're doing something really well. I think you have to establish balance. And I think all of the teams that win multiple championships here, that are like those tough competitors, game in, game out, week in, week out, are guys that you cannot key on one thing. Now, the Colts break that mold a little bit because of Mike Thomas. I mean, we know he's the number one target. He's had 120 plus, whatever the number was, receptions this year. But if you can establish balance of the run and the pass, and really, buy yourself some time, then you're going to be okay. And if you're attacking that Colts defense, balance is going to be key. Can you establish the run? Can you not turn the ball over? Look for the big play downfield. And to me, the big play may be catalyst to what sets up the game. Like standard, that's not the word I'm looking for, but like the story of the game, the big play may set that up. I think the story of the game is going to be the run game for the 49ers. Can they establish that run and really keep the Colts off balance? All right, one final thought. Colts, 49ers, who's your winner and how did they get there?
Much as I want to see Cincy do it, because anytime D-Money doesn't win a championship, it's better for the league. I think the suspension to Leonard is going to end up hurting him enough that where he's going to lose that game by a touchdown or two.
What was the game? 49ers, I want to say Denver. Was it Denver that he played in that like epic, like it was like a third and long by the goal line with under 2 minutes to go. 49ers
The almost Hail Mary.
Yeah. What game was that? It was Denver, wasn't it?
Denver and yeah. That was season 103.
I want to see that style of game, all right? Like, Denbrew went into that game with all the cards stacked against him. No one was picking Denbrew, and I got to be honest, very few are going to pick Cincyberg and the Colts, and it isn't because people don't think he's a good player or that he could win this game. Just D-Money can be so dominant in the OMFL, it's hard to pick against him. I'd love to see that kind of game, but I'm telling you now, if the Colts turn that ball over and they don't really fight to keep D-Money and the 49ers out of his head, like some of me hopes that he doesn't stream this game. I don't know who's streaming, but if you stream Cincy, turn the camera off. Like I just don't want there to be extra layers of things that can frustrate you. And I think sometimes I'm speaking for myself. When I'm streaming, I know I'm on camera, I'm reading the chat. It's just like these two added elements are just adding to the frustration even more. Because when I'm by myself and the camera's off and I'm not reading chat, like I just get over it. I'm able to move on and process to the next play better. But you look down and that last thing in chat just frustrates you, and it never goes away until more people talk. And if nobody's talking, it stays there and you get in your own head. And so like part of me hopes he doesn't stream, because I want to see him stay out of his head, stay focused. Because I'm telling you, if you beat D-Money in this league, you should be proud of yourself, because it takes extreme focus, it takes extreme game planning, and it takes some luck. It just does. So I'm calling for a 49ers blowout win in this one, but I hope that we see more of the D-Money D-Money Denbrew championship game that we seen a couple of Mads ago. That would be a classic game. Man, this is going to be a fun one. Was that this Madden? First year?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Second year.
Second year. Time has flown by, y'all. Like, I feel like I can't stay on top of it. I've been super busy. Our son is graduating. We threw a big party for him. It was Mother's Day on Sunday, party for him on Saturday. He graduates this Thursday, so my week is full again. But I'm going to use the time today and tomorrow to come up with the graphics to promote it. I will be there. Maniac is trying to be there. Trey, are you going to plan on being there on commentary?
That's the game plan.
Trey will be there, so it should be a fun night tomorrow night. Come join us. Let's finish Madden 23 strong. And then we've got some plans. Bill is working on a competitive for fun league for the summertime, so look for some announcements there. And I'm going to let a small cat out of the bag. I'm playing with an idea of doing a for fun league, but nothing with like super, more of like think test CFM. When we test at the beginning of each Madden cycle, we set up a CFM and we let people jump around teams and try things. I want to do a test CFM this summer of trying out some rule ideas that I have in my head, or I should say lack of rule ideas that I have in my head. I've really been, this is the part of being a commissioner that isn't fun, is that you get the feedback from a very small minority percentage. I would say the large majority of this league won't say anything. So I don't know if they like it, they hate it, they think we have too many rules, not enough rules. I have no clue, because a large majority of you will not say a thing. And then there's like the 30%, where 20% is all in, and like they're our board members, they love our rules, they help me create rules, we're all about keeping things fair. Then there's the 10% that hate every rule, want no rules, and struggle by getting popped all the time. So some of me is like, I'm not saying we're going to do any of these things, but I want to put up a test CFM this summer where we test removing all of the percentages and kind of opening up what players can do, and just see, does that fit? Does it not fit us? What would it make, some of our TFL friends that play here, would it make them go, ugh, I don't like that? I don't know. I've got these ideas in my head constantly now that we're wrapping up Madden 23. I'm thinking about Madden 24 and thinking about like how can we have things fair to where people have to be strategic, and I've got some things in my head that might get us there, but I don't know if people are going to love them. So more to come on that, and I can't wait. Trey, thank you for joining me, my buddy. I can't wait to see how this bowl game is going to play out. I had my fingers crossed that some way, somehow I could pull out some kind of major upset and get to a bowl game. But the 49ers, man, they're tough, bro. And congrats to both the Colts and the 49ers to get there. More graphics to come for me. Join Maniac and Trey and I tomorrow as we are here for the OMFL Bowl 105. And it's going to be a ton of fun. Trey, thank you again, bud. Guys, we'll see you on the next one. Until then, you matter. I love you. We'll see you.
Smash that like and subscribe.